One of the qualities I think about when I think about thinking bigger is bravery. And you mentioned the pandemic. In some ways, that bravery took a hit for some people during the pandemic. And how much when you think about the qualities of the people who really master this in a way, besides following the criteria that you lay out in your book, are there character traits? I mean, I'm just because it feels like we're in a period where you don't want to be brave. I talk to a lot of leaders. It's more difficult to be brave now in some ways, and yet we need it.
So I do a lot of exercises in class where I'm trying to teach them two things. I guess three things. One is to be fearless. So I get them to do things that they would ordinarily be uncomfortable doing. You hate talking to strangers. You have never really danced in public. I get you to do that, and then you have to write a poem about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just to build in that habit of being fearless, because, it's usually most things are not as scary once you do it.
Right.
The second is I'm trying to get them to understand the value of persistence, right? And so a lot of times people give up in the creativity exercise because they have the excuse, I don't know what to do. By giving them the framework and the toolkit, they now don't have that excuse. I think anybody can do it, but they do have to persist. And then the third thing I think is important is essentially this willingness to be curious, this willingness to, as I put it, go into other boxes, to learn about other things, because you never know where you're going to find interesting things that you can import in.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows if Einstein was truly a genius? What we do know is he sat in the patent office for a number of years and was exposed to a whole bunch of patents on a whole bunch of different topics. And we know that even by his own account, that was his greatest worldly oyster.
It is interesting. I think one good place to end is, being in an academic institution. There's so much discussion right now about the value of the university experience, the diversity of that experience. You mentioned sort of just the subject matter diversity you try to achieve in your classroom. Are you noticing any of these conversations sort of seep into the classroom itself? Because certainly we're reading about it a lot. You're experiencing it.
Yeah, I would say that our young, there's often in the news a lot of critique of our young, that they're a different generation. Maybe they don't have the same ideas or value systems of the older generation.
I think you just froze up for a second. Sheena, if you want to just, you're saying about the misconceptions about our young.
So one of the big misconceptions about our young, saying internet connection is unstable. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's working.
Anyway, so I would say the thing that's most impressive about our young today is they care. They really want to get involved and get engaged in all kinds of things affecting our world. I'll tell you, I'm teaching an MBA class, and they are all required to use the Think Bigger method to come up with an idea that solves for a problem. I mean, that literally they have to come up with an entrepreneurial idea, even though they're not training to be an entrepreneur in my class. 40% of the ideas that they create by the end of the semester have to do with a not-for-profit venture that's in some way, shape, or form trying to solve for a problem or a challenge confronting our world today.
Yeah. Yeah, they do think bigger. It's true. So I think certainly from the zeitgeist point of view, these are the questions we should be asking. So Sheena, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I look forward to continuing the conversation.